Hello, friends. Welcome back.
Hello, friends. A
It's
sad day for two of three people here. Yesterday, at least.
Yep,
yeah,
yep, yep. Heartbreaking, man.
little hard to mend my broken heart.
So, as you would have guessed, we are going to discuss the Europa League Final yesterday, uh, which Spurs won 1-0. Uh, and I think we can get started from the lineup itself. Like,
Yep, yep.
what
There
was.
were, I think, a lot of surprises on the both sides, I would say. If you
Yeah,
think about it, never thought Son will be on the bench. I always thought he will be there and they will try to just score first or
Yep,
score as many in first half.
my guess with that was he might not have recovered from his injury,
correct.
Mm,
and that could be a possible reason for him on the being on the bench. They wanted to give like the
possibly. Yep,
start with
yep.
their strongest players fit
Mm,
and then get in Son so that he doesn't stretch himself a lot.
I
yep,
think one of the
possible.
biggest surprises from the United end was Mason Mount starting,
Mm.
and the other one Ugarte not starting. That was to me.
S- So Mason
Yeah.
Mount
I
basically
think more
like
than Ugarte, I was surprised with Garnacho.
yeah,
He, I think, has
Hmm,
started, I don't know, almost all matches, if I'm not
yep,
wrong. Or maybe,
yep.
at least been there. I was totally surprised with him being on bench. Ugarte, of course, being on bench. And
Yep.
overall, the formation, I just, when I saw the formation, I told you guys that I don't see anything in here, like no tactics at all.
so
I
like
was
you
surprised.
said, right? The main shock was Mount starting,
Mm,
and Garnacho not starting for me. Ugarte, like with Casemiro's current form in Europa League, it was very difficult to drop him.
mm,
With Mount starting, that meant Bruno had to drop deeper,
yep.
Yep.
and that basically took Ugarte's spot.
Mm,
So that's what I was confused with. Why not play Bruno Fernandes plays higher at the pitch?
Mhm.
Play him higher, replace Mount, and get like a two-man midfield in Ugarte and Casemiro to protect your back four. And he did not even play with a back four. He literally played with a back five. Like he
mm,
had five defenders on the pitch, which is again confusing to me. Again, he wanted to stick on the 3-4-3,
Mhm.
but for me, Ugarte not starting was criminal.
yep, yep. I think the pressure of final got to him. Uh, he looked
And having Onana
clueless.
in the team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Well,
funny
I
stat. United has lost their past five out of five.
Yeah,
Only they have won one
one.
European game in which they were facing Onana. So
Mhm.
and weren't they facing Eric Ten Hag
And
that time?
yeah, Eric Ten Hag's
yeah,
Ajax.
yeah.
Yep.
So
But
funny.
again, big managers have made the same mistake. So like I clearly remember Pep Guardiola dropping Fernandinho and Rodri
Yeah.
against Chelsea, and which costed them the
Mm,
match. So
mm,
again, it could they could just learn from it, right?
yep, yep.
The
The other
play-
thing which I think was a master stroke by Postecoglou was playing Richarlison and deploying him just to break up the play to harass players.
Yeah,
Yep,
he was just a
yep,
nuisance throughout the game. He
yep,
did
Yep.
not
yep,
make any
yep.
significant
Ah,
contribution.
if
And
if I look from a neutral point of view, I think he had a beautiful game
yep,
because he did his job. Like his
yep.
job
Yeah.
was to just break the play and just tackle players, just frustrate them basically, and he did an amazing job at that. So
And that is why I think he didn't start Son as also. As Sushan mentioned, right? He's still recovering from his injury. But Son is considered like a nice player, not like
Mm.
a player who will go and like tackle
mm,
people, break up play. And he'll go forward a lot more. But as compared to Richarlison, who was just wanted to break a play, foul, give players a chance to like just go
Yeah.
back. That is what his
mm,
and he just played perfectly, right?
yep,
Like
yep,
he literally got a silly yellow card, but had he not got a yellow card, I wouldn't have been surprised if Son would have been bought even more late.
even
So
later.
the
Yep,
funny
yep.
thing is, if you look at Spurs' game, I don't recollect any moment in the game where they put a few string of passes together. The only gameplay that they were planning, and they did it successfully, was basically targeting United's defense,
Yep.
who have a vulnerability against a looping ball,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that has been exploited multiple times, even in the Premier League. Like someone like Harry Maguire, even he struggles with that, and
Hmm.
they were targeting that by putting in long balls from defense. Uh, yeah, they did not make any attempt passing through the middle at all, or like making beautiful play through wings. Uh, it was just
Yep.
basically cross long balls, long balls. If the player gets to the end, Solanke using his physical presence
Yep.
to
Hmm.
shield the ball and compete for the dropping ball, but otherwise no passes from Spurs' gameplay.
Yep.
But again,
Yep.
what they were literally desperate for a trophy, and it was like, I'll do anything to win it.
Yep. Yep.
And that is the strategy they kept because they knew this was going to frustrate United, right?
Yeah.
And that is what they did. The the bad part which I kind of felt for United was, why were they crossing the ball in the box when Romero and Van
Van
de
de
Ven
Ven.
were literally having a field day. They were clearing everything. Then you
Everything.
have
Yep.
Matesa, you have Bisuma, you have Bentancur who will do the same thing. That was literally frustrating to me. Like, why weren't United?
Clearly, their players were taller, more physical than us. So I just didn't understand. Okay, like you tried few times, it is not working.
Yep.
Change the gameplay. That's what frustrates me more. That Amorim just clearly lost it. He was clueless. He
The
didn't
only
change
two players I
anything.
feel, yeah, so I was
Yep.
about to come to that. With the strategy that United lost out to, right? And Luke, you were mentioning that United did not have physical presence. The only two players from United team who could actually go in and try to head the balls were basically Casemiro and Maguire.
Yep.
Hmm.
And I believe Amorim, the tactic that he usually employed, putting Maguire up front, he did very, very late in the game.
Yep. Yep.
And even
Yep.
with the substitutions, right? They came at the 70th minute. They were looking like
Hmm.
Mount was nowhere visible on the pitch. If I would have been in his place, I would have taken him out at around
For
55th minute.
50. Yep. Yep. Yep.
At least give him 10 minutes in the second half because we
Totally.
conceded goal late in the first half. Give him 10 minutes to see if he can make any impact. And he,
Hmm.
since he wasn't clearly doing anything, I would have got Garnacho in, given him few more minutes to make an impact. Like the 15 minutes matter
yep.
Yep.
in the
Yep.
final. And
And
Garnacho
clearly,
with the type of
Garnacho had
like,
impact. Like
yeah,
Yes.
as
Yes.
he came in with fresh legs, fresh, faster tempo, and really good uh ball position. I would say because we are clearly lacking that.
yeah.
Ahmad, on the other hand, like he had fantastic first half, but then I think he was tired in
Tired.
the
Alright.
He,
second.
Yep.
he was tired in the
So you
second
could
half.
so again, going back, like Ahmad is not he cannot play like full 90 minutes or 80 minutes. Why would you start him? He's an impact sub. He has always delivered as a sub. You keep him there. You start with your strongest team. You start with the team which has started in previous games, and then bring in your. We had good bench. It's not like
Yep.
we had compared to Spurs, we had better bench.
Yeah.
Okay, Son maybe he was the best player on the pitch. I would agree, but other than that, we had good players. So I think the whole thing comes back to the square one. Like, you started wrong players, you bought in players very late, and yeah, and you guys were talking like overall, I think United had like 70% of possession.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, I read the stat that Spurs had passes like 115 or 120 passes overall in the game, and I was like shocked to know that. But
So looking at the stats, right, that you were mentioning, so Spurs had 112 passes, of which they completed only 61%.
That's
wow,
wow.
And as compared to that, United had 433 passes,
passes, yeah.
and yeah, it was an 84% completion rate for United.
So I think Spurs both the teams came with clear mindset of winning, but I think Spurs had a better
Strategy.
tactics, I would say, yeah,
Yep.
strategy, and their players deliver. I mean, I'm not unhappy with United players as well because they were doing what they were told to do. Bruno was there as a DM essentially, for the whole time. And later on, after Garnacho came in, he started going forward. That was like too late.
That was
And
already
by that
being.
time, Spurs had like they were clearly all. I could in the near the penalty area, I could see all 11 players of Spurs.
So
They were
United
not
were
in.
actually playing, to be honest, with 9 men because two people on the pitch I couldn't see at all. One was Rasmus Højlund, except when he gave his attendance while
Yep.
putting up his hand, and the other one was Mason Mount. Like both of them not visible through the game, not making any impact. At least Højlund had that one chance
Mm.
where Van de Ven was again a brick in United's
Yeah.
thorn in United's uh, defense
Yeah.
against United, like he did with his tremendous run again in the first half of the season. Uh, but except for that, Hoyland nowhere visible. Mount wasn't visible at all. Bruno had, I would say he did not have greatest of starts in the game. His impact was more evident, as you mentioned, when Garnacho came. And defense, what they were not tested at all except for that one ball.
Mm.
There was one chance when Dominic Solanke went with the ball, but then
Yep.
he chose to go wide
Miscontrolled
and
it.
Close.
Yep.
Yep.
miscontrol
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep.
But other than that, I don't remember Onana making any save or
Yep.
being any kind of threat
I
in
mean,
that.
even the goal that went in, that
Yeah,
was not Spurs, that was
Own
United.
goal. Yep.
yeah.
And I mean, Onana, I feel could have just flicked it off.
There could have
He
been, yeah,
was
he.
clearly reachable there. Like he probably, as always, he lacked reflexes, I would say. Like it was not totally his fault. It was Shaw. I think Johnson went in front of Shaw. Shaw
Yep.
was supposed to mark him, but he didn't, and that's how the it happened.
So let's talk about what this means for both United and Spurs, right? There was a lot of talks of Cunha coming to United. Now there is some stalling which is happening on his part. There was a lot of talk if United would have won this, then they could have got Gyökeres, and
Mm.
now that doesn't seem to happen. And chances are that you might or United might go up with Liam Delap, pay 30 million for him, I believe. But this severely impacts United. I think the share price of United has gone down since
Yeah,
yesterday.
Tremendously. Yep. Finishing
So
17th, not winning anything, and showing this kind of performance in the final. I think that has impact. That will have a big impact on
yep.
players, incoming players, basically. I think what I read is Cunha is almost done. So they had
Mm,
an agreement before even the Bilbao game or after the Bilbao, like something like that. And like we were just waiting for the season to get over and to announce it. But uh, Joker is obviously he will not come. There were news that he wants Champions League, and if United had won this, they probably
yep.
I was more excited to see him than Delap probably, but Delap he's not a bad signing. We need a center forward,
I would have
and
preferred an
hopefully,
experienced striker right now,
yep,
considering the
that's true.
because we have two young strikers who aren't doing any favors to us. I know Delap has scored over 10 goals, but then again, I would have currently, with the current situation, right, the current mentality that the team is in. If you remember, we got Zlatan Ibrahimovic as a
Mm,
free transfer, and he had a tremendous impact on the overall mentality of the squad, and got that winning mentality with him. Same with Edinson Cavani. So
Mm,
when Cavani
mm,
came, he was putting like even though he was, I would say, past his prime, but he was still an excellent marksman who could finish chances. And he had an excellent link up with Rashford and Martial and Greenwood, if I'm not wrong.
yep.
Greenwood was there too.
yep, Greenwood. Yep.
So I wouldn't even mind. And then we went for Ighalo. Like what?
Yep. And
Uh,
then United have got a. I think they are going back to their original roots of buying young strikers, but these are not the Rooneys of the world. Like
yeah.
Yep,
you are
that's true.
buying a striker who's just coming from Atlanta, had a decent season, and then
One,
playing
one
one decent
season.
season.
Yep.
Exactly.
One
But I
decent
think
half
all
season.
Premier League clubs are like falling for it. Like Nunes, Hoyland, Nicolas Jackson, like all teams have done that mistake. Rashford is, sorry, I think Hoyland is a great finisher. He wants to finish off Manchester United, like,
And his career.
and his career. Like,
Yeah.
Yep,
his career
yep.
will be done at 22. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to another club and just starts banging in goals. Like,
I
what is
am
happening?
100% sure that he will be sold to some Syria club and then he will start scoring like 15 goals
I
a
wouldn't
season.
see, it's not the club's fault, right? Like when people are comparing Anthony's stats at Real Betis versus what he did at Manchester United,
Yep.
his failure on the pitch was evident to everyone. Like he wasn't
Hmm.
confident at all with the ball.
Yep.
And he was just one-dimensional player who tried to get ball to his right and put a curler in which he was unsuccessful 95% of the time.
Yep.
He was too timid with the ball. He was easily physically bullied in Premier League. So I know the club is at the fault too, but like I don't like the comparison where they say like, hey, he's gone. United is the only reason behind his
Yep.
True.
downfall in
Yep.
performance,
Yep.
True.
and it's pretty evident with Sancho, right? He had a decent, I wouldn't say an outstanding loan spell at Dortmund. He had a decent spell. Like people remember his spell just because of that one
Wasn't
game.
even decent, man. It
Yeah.
was like
So just I would just put him
subpar,
in
I
the
would
decent
still say.
category because of
Yeah.
that semi-final performance.
Yeah.
But other than that, not as impactful with Dortmund and even with Chelsea. Like he's
Hmm.
Sancho's hardly visible there. But yeah, like the transfer policy for United will severely be impacted. And I was reading I read a couple of places, right? That entire United squad is up for sale, including Bruno.
Bruno. Yep.
Mm.
I would not rule out. I think he's what, 31 or
31.
something?
Yep.
31,
31.
32. Yeah. So, if we are getting decent money out of him, I think it's okay to sell him. If we are replacing him with someone, not with Modric with the Real Madrid retirement plan. So he's coming for free. So Radcliffe must be like
Yeah, he's coming
Yep.
for free, giving
happy.
350K.
And joining Casemiro in the midfield
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be run past off. But again, if the whole squad is on sale, I think the only player who can hold his head up high is Abad Diallo.
yeah.
Hmm.
Again, a very good performance yesterday. Uh,
It looks ever so likely that Garnacho is leaving because he came out and spoke out against the
Yep.
against the club. Basically, he said he
Mhm.
only got 20 minutes to play,
20 minutes. Yep,
yep.
yep, yep,
so his time is up as well.
Yep.
yep. But overall, a forgetful night, forgetful
Congratulations,
season.
Spurs, on
Hmm.
finally ending your memes
Yep. No,
episode.
and deserving so. Deserving.
Deserving.
Yep.
Like
And
the only thing surprising is Spurs have had really good players, and we were talking about it yesterday. Be it Harry Kane, be it Gareth Bale, be it Christian Eriksen in his prime,
yep.
be it prime Son, who was banging in goals left and right, and
Even their keeper, right? Hugo Reyes was the
Yeah.
Hugo
French
Lloris,
winning.
yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
France
Yep.
World Cup winning captain. And they had Jan Vertonghen, they had Toby Alderweireld, two of the
Yep.
No.
good,
Belgium.
solid
Yep.
Premier League defenders,
Solid. Yep.
and then Kyle Walker. So they had very, very good squad, and they managed to win trophy with this squad, which is nowhere near their best squad in years.
Yep.
Again, was it Spurs winning it or United throwing it? It's up for debate.
I think it's the latter one.
Yep.
Uh,
And
United clearly could have won it had they been in the game. The manager and the players had been,
and
if their head
Spurs
was
get a
in game.
bragging right over Arsenal again, right? Even
Yes.
Uh,
though they had a wretched season, they end up with a European trophy before Arsenal.
Poor
And they end
Arsenal.
up in the Champions League with Arsenal.
Yeah.
Finishing 16th
And
match.
and and kudos to Ange who had literally said, "I always win stuff in my
Yeah.
My
second
second goal.
season."
People laughed at him,
Yep.
including us. But yeah,
Yeah.
there he
And we are
is.
not laughing
And
now.
besides players, Spurs had tremendous managers as well. You remember Jose Mourinho, you
Yep.
remember
Yep.
Harry Redknapp, you had Antonio Conte, who was serial winners, Mauricio Pochettino.
Pochettino. Yep. Yep.
So they literally had good managers, and they win it under Ange Postecoglou.
I wonder what mandir or like what temple, church or place he had went to before the
I
match.
want to go there.
So yeah,
I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe also wants to go there.
it's severely
Let's see.
like a pathetic result as a United fan. Like
Uh,
I was so down, I had to I was holding off from a food item. I had to go in and order that just to make myself feel better.
Yep. 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 I was feeling so stressed at home that I had to go for a drive, a small drive. But yeah, it is what it is. Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. It has happened to the best of us. I think I was looking at the match and I was just thinking, hey, Liverpool also lost in red when the opposing team was wearing white. And this could be a repeat phenomenon where the
It-
bad team who weren't playing just scored off like one goal and
And the
Yeah.
funny thing, this season has been a season of birds. So
yes,
Yeah.
Crystal
Yeah.
Palace,
Yeah.
Newcastle,
Palace,
Newcastle,
Newcastle,
Liverpool.
Spurs, and
Liverpool,
Liverpool,
and yeah, Spurs. So
Yep.
and season of unexpected team winning trophy.
Bologna. Yep.
Bologna, Newcastle, Crystal
yeah,
Palace. Yeah,
And maybe it's a sign that PSG finally win their Champions League.
yeah. I think they are in pretty good shape to win, but
Yep.
we'll cover it later.
yeah.
We'll cover it later.
Yeah.
Let's
Thank
see.
you so much
Thank you
for
so much
watching,
for
guys.
joining in and sharing our pain with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.